Hey everybody. Today we're going to do a feeding video here. If I can get myself situated. I'm going to throw a bunch of shrimp pellets in there. My black ghost knifefish has been fairly active down in his cave. He hasn't come out yet, but he's been waggling around and moving his head, and a little while ago I had one of my blue snails was right in front of the cave where he lives, and he thought it was going to come out and maybe take a shot at the snail, but it never did. So I'm going to try putting a little bit of meaty, flavorful food in here. And of course this will also go to serve as the occasional meaty treat for the plecos and some of the other fish that typically eat algae and whatnot, but can always use the occasional additional high protein snack. So for the rest of the fish, I'm actually going to put some mysis shrimp in there. Kind of for the same reason. They normally get flake food, but the mysis shrimp will be a nice change for them. I'm also hoping the mysis shrimp smell or flavor, whatever you want to call it, gets into the tank enough that the black ghost knifefish becomes excited by it. Maybe we'll see it make an appearance. So far it doesn't look like anybody's even noticed the mysis shrimp are in the tank. Okay, now that they've moved around and hit the spray bar in the back, I can see them moving through the water column, and the fish are getting a little more excited by them. So hopefully by now that flavor is swirling around the tank enough that that black ghost knifefish ought to be able to tell it's in there. Now I can see it moving its head around, but we'll have to wait and see if it actually comes out. I've had people suggest over the years that I could put, you know, clear plastic tubes in the tank, and the fish like to hide in tubes, and there's no way I'm putting a clear plastic tube in any of my tanks just because of the way that would look in my tank. I know you'd get to see the fish more and all that, but that to me isn't the point. You know, if I wanted to buy a fish that just hung out in the open, I'd buy a fish that hung out in the open. Now, I will say that this one's a little disappointingly reclusive. It never comes out until after the lights go out. I've also had people suggest, you know, putting the camera down here at night with a real low light setting and just letting the camera run and getting to see the fish come out and everything. And, you know, I don't know, maybe someday I'll do that just for the sake of shooting some video and see if I can get it put out there. I don't have any real low light camera. I'd have to set up some sort of low light environment. I guess maybe I could... you know, once I've turned the tank lights off, I generally leave the grow light that's in this room. I generally leave the grow light on for about another hour after the tank lights have gone off, and that puts quite a bit of light on these tanks, even though it's not, you know, the tanks aren't being directly lit. So that's a possibility. Maybe I'll give that a shot and see what happens. In fact, now that we're halfway through this video, why don't we switch the lighting around, because right now I've got the... you know what, I'm not going to do that, because if we do, the tank's going to turn into a mirror and you're not really going to see much inside the tank at all. All you're going to see is a reflection of everything in the room over here, all the plants and everything. So we'll try that on another video. I'll see how that one comes out before I actually decide to do that mid-video. We'll wait and see what that turns out to be. So... he's still, again, I see him in there moving his head around. I'm tempted to pick the camera up and move it over to my T-bar tank where I can see my high-fin spotted pleco is out and about. I've got a dead fish in there. It's a cherry barb that died, I don't know, maybe 3 days ago. And slowly but surely, that pleco's just been working on it. Every now and again, I'll look over there, and it's just sort of working on the body of the fish, and it's just getting smaller and smaller, and that's what it's doing now. It's over there working on it. So at this point, it doesn't even look like the body of a fish anymore. It's just sort of this little bit of white meat down there. It's going to be gone in another day or so. So that was the female cherry barb that actually used to be in this tank, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. About 4 years ago, I guess. And then as my Tenopoma started getting a little bit bigger, my Tenopoma that's now in my 125, The Tenopoma actually ate the male cherry barbs that were in this tank that were smaller. I might even still have those old videos of the cherry barbs getting eaten by the... That was actually so early in my YouTube videos that I didn't know how to stitch two pieces of video together, so every little segment of video I shot was its own little video. So there was a sequence of videos of my cherry barbs being eaten by my Tenopoma, which at the time, you know, seemed really big and aggressive to me, but I look at now and I think how cute and adorable he was back then, because it's about a third the size of it is now. So this has not been a very exciting feeding video, unless you consider the sound of me droning on exciting. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I really don't think he's going to come out. He's still just got his head in there and it's just moving around, and I know the moment I shut the video off he's going to pop his head out. So I'm going to call it good and say thanks for watching, but I will stand here for a few more minutes just in case he does do what I expect him to do, and I can always hit that camera button and turn it back on. So thanks for watching. Like I said, make sure you're subscribed. I promise I'll get some video of this guy one of these days. Maybe I'll do the tank cam again, and we'll get some video that way. But don't forget, this one is my Black Ghost Knifefish tank. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you real soon on the next one.